Domain and range of piecewise functions from their graph. We've talked about finding the domain and range of a function from its graph before. This is really just adding on a fun new piece because we're working with piecewise functions. So remember, domain is going to refer to the x values, range is going to refer to the y values. So if I'm looking at these graphs, I want to know what possible x values would the coordinate points on this graph have. I'm going to go ahead and I'll do domain in pink. So domain is the x values. If I look, I know that the x values start right here, right? This like starts right here. And we don't include -5. There is no point at -5. So we're not including -5 in our domain. We know that all the x values are covered all the way up till we get to -2. -2 is on the graph. This is the point right here, -2, -3. So that point does exist. -2 is in the domain. So this should be a bracket. Let's look at this other piece over here. Here, let's see, we include the x value 1. It's in the domain because there's a point. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. This graph continues all the way to 3. It doesn't continue after that, right? There's no graph over here. 3 is a closed circle. So it's a bracket. Our domain is from -5 to -2, bracket, parenthesis on the -5 though, union 1 to 3 with brackets on both. Right, we have to do a union because there's a gap in the domain there. The range refers to the y values. So I'm going to start at the very bottom of the graph. Let's see, there's no graph here for the y values. Oh, the first y value to occur in the range is going to happen here at -4. There's a closed circle, so I'm including it with a bracket. Let's see, this guy covers all the way up to here. All those y values are covered. Then I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to put anything here because if I look over to the left, this portion of the graph also exists and has y values, so we can just keep on coloring. Right here, this is the point, this is the open circle at -5, 5. It's an open circle, which means we're not including it. So our range goes from -4 to 5. Let's look at this next graph. All right, so for our x values for our domain, they are beginning at -4. They go all the way up to here. Now, we have to be careful, right? Because it looks like what we need to do is like do a bracket and then a parenthesis in the same spot, but that doesn't make sense. There is no gap in the domain here. There's not a single gap in the domain. I know there's an open circle here, but right below that open circle is a closed circle. So we jump right from the domain from this portion of the piecewise function to this guy, and we just keep going. It's a trick one. There's an open circle here, so we're doing a parenthesis, right? These things all relate to one another. This relates to that guy, that one. So our domain is from -4 to 2. Bracket, then parenthesis. For our range, the y values, they're going to start right down here, right? At -5, we're including -5, going up, going up. I'm going to look at this piece first. Going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Okay. Do I need to stop my range? Yes. Okay, because this graph, that's just an arrow I drew. There is no graph in this section right here. So there's no y values used. So I'm going to use a bracket, My y values will begin again with this piece here and go all the way up to here. So my range is between 3 and 5 exclusive. Two more examples here. Domain starts at -5. Open circle was why I have a parenthesis. Goes until -3. Then there's a huge break in the domain. It starts again at 4 with a parenthesis because it's an open circle. And it goes until 5. The domain on this one is -5 to -3, union 4 to 5. The range, the y values, I look for the smallest y value. Oh, that's the smallest y value. It's not really a y value. It's an open circle, so it's a parenthesis. Then let's see. We're hitting y values, y values, y values up to here. We have an open circle that I've drawn over so you can't see, but it is an open circle there. So this entire portion is covered in the range. You might ask, like, what about this guy? What about what he contributes to the range? And as it turns out, I don't need his contributions. I don't need your contributions to the range because this guy covers all the range this one does and more. So we don't need to talk about his contributions. It's already covered. We can't cover a portion more than once. So, I mean, if you looked at this guy, if you wanted to give him credit for the range he brings, you would just, I mean, you'd just be scribbling in a place that's already scribbled. And that doesn't make it extra part of the domain of part of the range. It just makes it part of the range. Anyway, the range is going to go from -4 to 0. Finally, on our last one here, my domain is going to start right here, bracket because we have a closed circle. It goes all the way to 0, and by all the way, I mean barely anywhere at all. And we include this portion. Open circle means parenthesis. There's a gap in the domain right here where there's no graph. We begin again here at 1. Open circle is a parenthesis. That domain continues all the way to here. And that's our domain. Ooh, well, perfect time to finish this video. We have -1 to 0, union 1 to 5. Oh man, and my voice is going out too. So good time to stop because we're almost there. All right, y values for the range. We have a parenthesis, and then I'm going to look at this piece first. Those y values go all the way up to here. I ask myself, is it time to stop? No, because this guy still has a little bit further in the y values. Oh, all the way to 4. So our range is from -5 to 4. So you really be careful. Looking at those open circles, those closed circles, looking for weird situations where domains and ranges from different pieces of the piecewise function overlap one another. Practice, practice, practice. And that's really all though I have to say on it is practice. If you have questions, send me an email. I hope your day is wonderful. You're doing fantastic. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. See you later. Bye.